Hi, Martin.
Hi,
Welcome to
Richard.
this LinkedIn live session. It's great to see you and interact with you. So we are having this LinkedIn session, live session, this conversation, and you will get to know the work that Martin and her organization, Capitals Coalition, has been doing as part of the run-up to our 9th annual sustainability conference of the Center for Responsible Business. So our annual sustainability conference would be held from the 2nd to the 4th November in New Delhi. So we are going back to the physical form of the conference after 2 years, and we hope you will all join us for various sessions, including this very interesting session that Capitals Coalition has put together, and we will learn and talk about it in a few minutes. But in the meantime, let me welcome Martin to this LinkedIn Live and to this conversation. The session that you have put together is happening on the 4th of November, 4:15 to 5:45 p.m. India time, and we look forward to a very exciting and interesting conversation. But at the outset, tell us a little bit about Capitals Coalition and the work that you do, which is extremely interesting and very relevant for conversation on sustainable sourcing and sustainable procurement and overall on sustainability. So welcome, and kindly introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the Capitals Coalition.
Thank you, Richard, and good afternoon or good morning. In my case, I'm based in the Netherlands. Thank you very much for having me. Like Richard said, I'm Martine van Wilde, Director at the Capitals Coalition, and I'm also very much looking forward to the CRB conference and the session that we will be organizing on creating a systemic change in the food system by putting the value provided by nature and people at the heart of decision making. And the reason that we will be joining you in person finally is because we've been actually collaborating with CRB already for 2.5 years on this project, and we will finally have the chance to meet in person. So I'm really excited and to be able to come to India. To your question, Rigid, about the work of the Capitals Coalition, let me first tell a little bit about what we do before we delve into the session contents. So the Capitals Coalition is really a global collaboration, or maybe movement even, that really tries to create systemic change by transforming the way decisions are made. And we do that by promoting a capitals thinking. And with capitals, we don't mean capitalism. We talk about natural, social, and human capital. So really the value that is provided by nature and people, and integrating that into business decision making, because normally decisions are made on financial capital or produced capital. But what we say is that our value should be based broader and looked at in a wider way. And we do this by creating knowledge. We've drafted a natural capital protocol, the social and human capital protocol, and we really try to collaborate with many people, business, but also policymakers, standard setters, the whole arena of people and businesses that can really transform decision making. So that's in a nutshell what we do in
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Martin. And maybe you can speak a little closer to the mic because your voice is coming a little feeble. So thanks a lot for that overview, and it's very critical. What you said. I think from the work that we do and the understanding that we have, we feel that mindset change is critical, especially not just in business but also in policy making. So how do you take a business or a strategic decision based on evidence, and that the evidence is where the work of Capitals Coalition really sort of sits. So that's very useful And CRB has been very delighted to be part of the work that we've been doing with you for the last couple of years, where we have seen a number of businesses, and not just the large businesses. I think that has been one of the features that the approach and the framework that the Capitals Coalition promotes is not just meant for large businesses, but it can be applied universally by all kinds of business. And the variety and the diversity of Indian businesses which have been working with us, which we've been working with, the two of the organizations, that gives us a lot of confidence that there are methodologies, there are protocols, there are tools which can be accessible and useful for a variety of different kinds of businesses to start onto this sustainability journey, because that's one of the critical things that we feel is important, to get more and more companies, more and more entrepreneurs to start taking action on identifying critical sustainability challenges in their work, and how do they sort of create a strategy to address them. So I think from the experience of the interactions that we've had with the businesses, the Capital's approach and the framework that has been developed has been quite useful in sort of in appealing to a wide range of entrepreneurs for its adoption. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience of engaging with this tool in India, and in any other of the various countries that you've been working with? What has been the experience like, and what makes this tool universal, as we've just explained?
Thank you, Richard. And I must say, it's also because of your efforts in India that we've managed to reach out and engage with a lot of businesses and entrepreneurs. So thank you for those efforts as well. Maybe so I just provided an umbrella overview what the Capitals Coalition does. But the reason that we've been collaborating with CRB is very much about the TEEB Agri-Food program that we've been running globally. And this program is really tailored towards the agri-food sector. And we've developed that program or project as part of a larger program led by UNEP TEEB. And they really focus on policy engagement. And we've been running the business engagement together with partners in the 7 countries that we've worked with. And India is one of them. But we've also been leading the program in a similar way in Brazil, in Mexico, China, Indonesia, Thailand, and Malaysia. Got all of them, 7. And the project is an EU-funded project. And what we've done within this TEEB Agri-Food project, TEEB, by the way, stands for the Economics of Ecosystems and Biodiversity, is that based on the Natural Capital Protocol that the Capitals Coalition already drafted in 2016, we have provided or created guidelines that are really tailored towards the agri-food sector. And as Richard just explained, it's really a methodology to provide step-by-step guidance on how to look at the values of nature and humans and social capital, and how to integrate those values in your decision making. And as you mentioned, Richard, it's about creating awareness and also building the evidence of the impacts and dependencies that businesses have on these capitals. But it's also very much about integrating and actually action these values and take better and different decisions than businesses used to do. So I think that's really valid and or important to mention. And indeed, there is already a lot of guidance available, and our methodology supports the process. It's not descriptive, but it really supports a business in terms of how do I look at these things and where do I get started. And it's really the start of the assessment. Maybe you've heard of the Act D. That's currently a new framework that will also be part of the COP15 negotiations. So Act D stands for Assess, Commit, Transform, and Disclose. And where this work comes in is really in the assessment, and then looking into committing and transforming and disclosing of as well, of course. But that's really what the starting point is of our work.
Great, thanks a lot for that lowdown. And I think again, one of the critical things here, especially from an emerging economy perspective, is the fact that the capital's approach really integrates the social, the environmental, and the human element into one comprehensive framework, which is very, very critical and very useful. And the other important element that we also found is that it also helps companies in situating themselves in this whole system in which they operate. And on one hand, look at the dependencies on nature and people and society that they have. And on the other hand, evaluate the impacts that they're making on this. So that kind of a framing, helps create almost like a roadmap or a base map, really, to understand where companies situate themselves in the wider system, and also promotes this systems approach and systems thinking, which is so critical. So very, very happy that Indian companies of different sizes are sort of realizing the importance of valuation in business decision making. And the other fact that the other information that you gave out was that there are two arms to this initiative. The one that Capital's Coalition has been leading is the engagement with the private sector, but also we are conscious that you also need the enabling policy environment, and therefore the engagement with the policy makers, which UNEP is working on. So that really makes it a very comprehensive and a useful approach, and that really attracted us to the Capital's Coalition's work. So we are very happy. Let us quickly focus on the session that you have designed. So why don't you share a little bit? I know some of it you might want to keep secret because you don't want to reveal too much about what is going to happen, but maybe a little bit of a teaser for our audience and colleagues and friends who are going to be there, and also to get them attracted to the session. So if you can share a little bit about what you're going to be doing at this session, and that will really help hopefully draw the attention of some of the viewers to the session itself. Thanks.
Yes, I can. Maybe I can do a few scoops, but not too many, of course. I hope to see you there. So the session is titled Creating a Systemic Change in the Food System by Putting the Value Provided by Nature and People at the Heart of Decision Making. And our aim is to really, of course, get together. And as you just mentioned, it's really the work that we've been leading on. It has been very technical in a way, but it's also been very much about engagement and creating this movement in the countries that we've been working with. So also that's why we value the partnership with you very much, because we need people to act differently, and so we need people within the countries to get on board and understand this knowledge and how to do this. So we will talk a little bit about the guidelines that we've created for businesses and the trainings that we have provided to businesses in all of the countries that we've been working with. And most excitingly, we will have a few businesses that will come to speak during our session. And these businesses have gone through our training and have been applying our Chief Agri-Food guidelines. So they will really speak about what they have done and how they have implemented the the results. So we will hear from Arvind, a cotton manufacturer, about how they have been looking into their impacts of water use and compared conventional versus organic cotton production. And they found that actually there's a lot of value in organic farming, and that they can reduce many costs if they go to they transform towards organic farming. And then we will have Ecosiat consultants. They've done an assessment for Apollo Tires Foundation, and they looked at helping female farmers to reduce their costs by cultivating and looking into soil health and contributing to other benefits. And maybe something you mentioned before, and to make it a bit more tangible, what we've done to the audience now is the way we look at these things. You mentioned impacts and dependencies. So what we do via our approach is that we support businesses in looking at impacts and dependencies on both natural, social, and human capital, and that this helps to also get more insight in the risks involved with these capitals, but also opportunities. And I think that's a really important thing to mention, because we also often got the question, like, what's the business case, and why should we even bother to look at these things? But what we see is that actually when you start looking at these capitals and understand them in a different way, there is actually a lot of value and opportunity to transform the way. But of course, we also need the policy to make certain regulations mandatory, so there's a level playing field for businesses to transform. And that's indeed where UNEP comes in, and some other global initiatives. So we're trying to work on loads of things, bottom up, top down. We need to move fast in order to change the system. And so we have these two business representatives, but I'm also, in terms of the top-down approach, very pleased that we have our speaker, Pavan Sukhdev, the founder and CEO of GIST, and very much the father, I would say, of the TEEP approach to open our session. So that's a little bit of a scoop that I can give. He will come and open the session. And of course, he's been working in this field for a very long time. And we will also have a representative of the public sector from India coming to the session. And last but not least, we will have Nikita Ashtana from Olam. And Olam is really a business that have been looking into addressing their natural capital already for a very long time. So she has a lot of experience in applying the natural capital approach in their supply chain. So it's going to be exciting, and I really hope that to see all of you there.
Absolutely. I think this is great, the scoop that you gave out, that Dr. Pavan Sukhdev will be there. It's great, and I think he's going to also be there in person, so that's even better. And our colleagues, our audience, and friends should feel encouraged now to really block their calendar on the 4th of November in the afternoon and join us for this session. In terms of the way forward, we've done this conversation, and you've not just necessarily the work that you've done in India, but once the assessment is done by the companies, what is the kind of exit strategy that Capitals Coalition has of sort of letting the companies take the conversation forward, and not just the conversation, the action forward, in sort of addressing and using that information to take action? So what role do you see yourself in sort of with the evidence, now that you've created that roadmap for companies? What happens after that? Do you still have a role as Capitals Coalition, or are they by themselves? Is there a strategy of supporting them beyond that assessment? If you can tell us a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So we are a global collaboration and we're a foundation, so we don't have any commercial interests. So maybe that's good to mention. And through our program, we really hope that we've established a knowledge base within the country, also by working closely together with you, with CRB. And what we've tried with the partners who we've been working with so closely the past 2.5 years is that they will be setting up what we are calling the capitals hubs. So maybe this is another scoop that we can give, Richard, that CRB is going to launch a capitals hub in India during the CRB event. And with that hub, we really hope that we can continue our support in India by ensuring that the latest knowledge, the latest from the field is being shared with you, and that you can be supporting also businesses who want to take this approach on board with the local knowledge, and to really ensure that we work both ways, as I said, bottom up, but also top down, and that we can learn from each other and continue these conversations. So we will be stepping back somewhat, but we will be there. And also another exit strategy maybe. So there's the local support and the knowledge, but we will also be sharing all of our information online. We've been creating training sessions, so these training materials will be provided online. Or also we have a free Coursera course as the Capitals Coalition. This Coursera course is about natural capital in general, so really the thinking behind it and how you can get started as a business. So that's something that you can find online if somebody is interested and curious now. It's a free course, so I would recommend everybody to have a look. Lastly, we are looking into how we can continue the conversation, of course, with policymakers, and we will keep driving this field.
Great. Thanks a lot. Yeah. No, thanks a lot. I think you've I think teased everybody enough with with a number of possibilities that they should be looking forward to. And yes, we are very, very happy and of course delighted to be launching the India Capitals Coalition Hub, Capitals Hub and the launch will happen, of course, on the inaugural day towards the evening session, and we look forward to that. And definitely, the hub will be the repository of all the good practices, the cases across companies, across jurisdictions, because the India Capitals Hub will also be connected to the global sort of network through which information can be shared and accessed. So this is definitely going to be one, hopefully, a web page which will get a lot of visitors and a lot of inquiries, and that will ensure that we continue this process. I think we have had a very, very exciting and enriching partnership working with you, and I guess for us also, the idea would be to see how we are able to take this forward with a larger audience, with a wider audience of a number of other companies from different sectors coming together, coming forward. And let me tell you that there is a lot of interest. I think the issue is in terms of time, but also I think in terms of timing. Now that the conversation on biodiversity and climate is at a very, very high level, and a number of Indian companies are now taking a lot of interest in sort of creating roadmaps and sort of developing strategies. I think Capital's approach and the framework will have a lot of takers. So great. We are looking forward to welcoming you and the Capitals Coalition team in person in Delhi, and a warm welcome already to you and your team. We are also very, very pleased that we are going to have this session, and our audience, our colleagues joining in now or viewing this video later on, kindly mark your calendar for the 4th of November, 4:15 p.m. to 5:45 p.m. The event is going to be held, the conference is going to be held at the Eros Hotel in New Delhi. Please don't hesitate to write to us if you need further information. There are about 20 different sessions over a period of 3 days. So very enriching opportunity to build capacities and abilities for a wide range of organizations, and to network and learn from each other. So please do join us. I'm signing off right now, but thanking you once again, Martin, for your participation in this LinkedIn Live, and looking forward to having you in Delhi and the exciting session coming forward.
Thank you. I'm also very much looking forward to it, and thank you for having me today. And for those who have time, please look at the hashtag Make It Mandatory to inform the COP15 so that we can make it mandatory that these regulations get in place. It's open until 18 October, so I can't do that during the session.
Thank you so much, Martin, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.